allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. You can sit for a moment of silence for all our first responders, our men and women fighting all over the world for democracy and freedom, especially those who were in Project Resilience, phase 1. We're going to phase 2. Just keep all those people in your thoughts. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So it's a public hearing tonight. It's on the proposed lease option agreement and the ground lease for a solar photovoltaic system on the landfill site. Thanks to Danielle, we sent that referral to the Ulster County Planning. So according to our attorneys, we should wait for that. So we're going to keep the public hearing open to the next meeting. And I don't think there'll be a problem with the county, but it's all procedural stuff. So, and then we'll move forward, and there's a permissible referendum because it belongs to the taxpayers. I'm sure there's not going to be any objection, but you never can tell. So we'll go through the process on that. So that being said, I'd like to keep the public hearing open for that lease agreement. On the agenda, I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda. Just a brief thing to talk about the transfer station. So I need a motion to amend the agenda. Howard?
Make that motion.
Second. Alan, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None said. Moved.
Al, where did you want to add that?
I want to add that on the new business.
Okay.
Thank you. That being said, I need a motion to approve the agenda with the changes.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you, gentlemen. Motion to approve minutes from the June 8, 2020 town board meeting.
Motion.
Howard, I think Mark's trying to call in.
He's there.
He's on. He's
Okay.
on.
I'll motion.
I need a second. All right,
second.
Alan, thank you.
Gotcha.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And Daniel, thank you for doing the minutes and did a great job. Appreciate it. Item 5, authorize payments of bills in the amount of $527,740.98. And I need a motion to pay the bills, gentlemen.
Motion to pay the bills.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None being said, we're paying the bills. Tonight we have a presentation. We have Steve Jennison here, president of the Lions Club, to talk about a couple of things. I guess mainly the senior picnic and their plan on how to attack this with the COVID-19 happening. And we usually do that in August. Is that correct, Steve?
That is correct.
So the floor is yours, or the Zoom is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Marlborough Town Board. My name is Steve Jennison. I'm the president of Marlborough Milton Lions Club. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
So I just wanted to, our steering committee met, and we want to preface everything we do is that we need to be in phase 4, and we want to make sure that our senior citizens are protected, and we want to make sure that their health and safety is our utmost concern on whatever decisions we make and whatever the town board makes. I did speak to the board president. The school board knows about our Part B, if that's where we're to go to. So I'm just here to present to you what we thought would be the safest ideas, and I'll just go into that. Either way, we're going to go with either Plan A or Plan B. It'll be August 13th. This year, if we do it at the town park, it will be no breakfast. We are going to limit, we believe that there's 25 tables on the pavilion. We want to limit those to 6 per seniors, 6 at a table. We want to do away with family style. We want to serve them where they don't touch any utensils other than their own, and drinking glasses, which is going to be more labor intensive for the town board. I mean, for our Lions Club. But we believe that that's the safest route to go. Menu is pretty much staying the same with the steaks, the chicken, the corn on the cob, baked potatoes, rolls, butters, and of course the assorted soft drinks, water, Snapple. We're going to do away with the salads since that was served family style. And we just feel that that is the safest and most economical way to do this during these times. But that's only if we're in phase 4. And of course, if the town approves the opening of the pavilion. Our alternate plan is to do a chicken barbecue takeout service out of the snack shop at the high school. And that will limit to chicken, potato. We'll do a frozen corn, couple cookies, and a roll. We are planning on, for the town of Marlborough seniors, to either call in so we could have it ready for pickup, or if we need to deliver, I have a Lions member who's putting a committee together to actually deliver the meals to the seniors who are homebound. So that's where we're looking at. I spoke to Al previously, and I've spoke to Scott. I know my mother's chomping to get out at the bit to get out. She hasn't seen her friends since March, but as I tell her all the time, this is for her safety and of course the safety of her friends, that we still maintain the social distance. And so that's the presentation I have. I'll be more than happy to take questions at this time from any of the board members.
So,
I have a couple of questions.
I have just one question.
Yes. Go ahead.
So, my question is, so it's the Plan A with the 6 people at a table, and then the server serves each individual, and that sounds very great. Now, the people that cannot make it homebound, are you going to also, supply
Take out?
food for them, take out?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
what we wanted to do is we wanted to limit seniors coming up. We will do takeouts, and we'll have those prepared. Before, it's always been like a smorgasbord that everybody
Yeah, I've
comes
been
up,
there.
grabs the to-go container. We don't want to do that. We're going to have our servers are going to spread out along that table on the side, a chicken, a steak, a potato. The only choice the seniors are going to have, whether they want dark or white meat, or how well they want their steak done. But we plan on bringing them the corn and everything all on a plate.
I just want to, Steve, clarify that you're gonna also supply food for the people that are not going to be able to make it to picnic.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I had one question, Steve.
Yes.
My concern is some of the seniors or their families are probably not going to want them all to be in that kind of a situation. Do you think
Right.
that maybe if you guys attended one of the senior citizen meetings or something to get around and feel which way the seniors themselves would feel more comfortable?
Well, I've spoke to Ann Rhodes, and she has spoken to her executive board. Of course, they haven't met at all.
Okay.
And I don't believe that they're planning on meeting at all until September, just because of the safety issues there. So, that's probably why we're leaning more towards, for this year, going with Plan B. I just don't want to say we're not going to do Plan A if the whole state's open and we're all open for business. I still want to keep that as an option, but we don't need to make that decision on June 22nd. Of course, the town still needs to. We need to get to phase 4. The town still needs to open up the pavilion. Needs to turn the water on. Needs to. We need to have bathrooms.
Right.
So, the only thing we're asking for is that I think we want to make a drop dead decision on July 15th, which way we're going either way.
Okay.
But, the president of the school board wanted, preface that, the only permission that the governor has given the school districts is to do graduation. There's to be no other outside functions until we get into phase 4. So the school districts and the fields and everything are closed to the public. So that's where.
Well, Tommy, if everything goes right, we should be in phase 4 in 2 weeks, right?
July 7th.
Yep.
So that would give the town board enough time to make a decision and give us enough time to make a decision.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
We'll have a meeting that following Monday anyway.
How's the numbers looking, Tommy?
Can we say though, if we're in phase 4 by our next meeting, that we're gonna give the go ahead? Or, I mean, it seems like if we're in phase 4, we should be able to do this, right?
The only concern, I think, is do the people want to do, do the seniors want to go there, or the seniors' families want them to go there? That's my concern.
Oh, yeah, I agree, Ed, but if they don't want to go there, like Steve said, they'll be having home deliveries too on top of that. So they have the choice. They don't have to come.
Right. I just want to make sure that we take care of the most seniors we can, right?
Yeah,
I think that's the
absolutely.
objective, right?
absolutely.
I mean, we've been getting calls from seniors from New Paltz who've left Marlborough and from Highland who've left Marlborough. And, we're just telling them that this year we're just limited to the residents of Marlborough.
Yeah,
I don't know any other way.
How many people is that, Steve, again? How many people you normally have?
In the last 5 years, we've been averaging about 115 to 125, and we have about 25 volunteers who, serve the food and cook it.
You're right around the 150 mark sometimes.
Yeah, that's what we want to plan on, but we don't want to leave anybody out. Of course, we have seniors who don't consider themselves seniors. When I started looking at the seniors list and I noticed the people who were on the list to be called, they're also seniors themselves. So
I'll be a senior in 5 months.
there you go, Ed.
So we'll have to keep in contact. So this way, when phase 4 comes, the board will start to think about open the pavilion bathrooms. You need those if you're going to go with Plan A.
Right.
So we'll be in touch, and I think we'll move forward. So if either plan sounds feasible to me, it sounds like you're really concerned about the seniors and you're taking that into consideration. So seeing A and B, I think that I understand the desire to see your friends and stuff. I agree with Ed. I don't know if people are going to feel, their families are going to feel like that they're going to encourage their seniors to go out. But B seems like it's more or less of a chance that you're delivering it. I mean, you're with part of Project Resilience, so you know how that goes. These guys deliver 250 meals every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So.
And Steve.
Yes, Ed.
Even though I'm not in the Lions Club, if you need help delivering, meals or something,
Oh, I'll be calling you, Ed. Don't worry. I'll be calling every town board member and every.
No problem. I'm a professional now.
So
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's where our Lions Club is leaning. As I said, I just didn't want to put an exclamation on that we're not doing it if we're open for business.
How about we do this, Al? Our meeting following the 7th is that following Monday. If we open up for phase 4, we can revisit this. Steve can come in and be at that meeting, and then we can make our decisions then.
Well, Steve just indicated that July 15 was a drop dead date for them.
Right, but the Monday before, we have a meeting on the 14th. And if he would cut, so that would certainly coincide with when he wants to make his decision.
Yeah, well, I think the board and myself are gonna stay in close contact with Stephen.
Right, I know.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if I need to come back. I mean,
Yeah, I
Al,
don't-
or,
I don't
somebody
think
can
so.
call me.
Okay.
We just need it for ordering time.
Yeah.
Whether we're going to get steaks or whatever we're going to do, we do seek out donations also for beverages from local companies. We just like the lead time. I do appreciate Danielle reaching out to me. She did put us back on the calendar for just in case. So that's good.
Howard, you're muted, by the way.
So Steve, just back on a quick response to that question, and I did hear it in between all of that. Right now, I mean, obviously with more testing, there's more total positive cases, which is about 1,786 as of today. But the good part about that, in all of Ulster County, there's only a little over 300 active cases. I think it's 305 or 308. And in Marlborough, there's only 11 active cases right now total in Marlborough as of today. So again, obviously the numbers are getting better because I look more at active cases and recovery than I do more at the actual number of positives, because again, you're going to get more positives with more testing that's going on,
Right.
people going back to work. But right now, again, 305 or 308 active, all of Ulster County, and 11 people active in Marlborough as of today. And again, 2 weeks, July 7th, we're going to go into phase 4. If obviously tomorrow with phase 3 going into effect and the restaurants opening up at 50% and a little bit more contact, we'll see how that goes.
Yep. And I appreciate you allowing me to come in and speak to the board. To me, it's a community. This is a community event, and it's one of the biggest, largest events we do, other than the parade in our town. So it's just that important to our seniors, and we want to keep them safe.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Welcome. Thanks for
All right,
having
Stay
me.
on if you like.
Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
Howard, you're muted, right? Howard?
Yeah, I know. I
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank
Where's
you.
your dog there?
No, we're just so you know, we're not able to simulcast with YouTube for some reason. Keeps
Oh.
timing out after about at the connection stage, so I don't know what's going on. So
Okay.
I tried several times and not there. So that's why I was muted. I was concentrating elsewhere.
Okay. Thank you, Howard. Thanks for setting this up anyhow, first of all.
It's all Jerry's fault anyway.
Yeah. So that leads us to Chief Kokoza about the governor's executive order 203, Chief. I'd like to talk a little bit about that, about setting up a committee. I mean, we have the 2 liaisons, Howard and Ed. How do you proceed moving forward? I guess we have to have a plan in by 2021. Is that right, Chief? Or
April 1st, 2021.
I can hardly hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you either.
Now?
No,
No.
put it up, fine.
Oh, hold on. I don't know why.
Sometimes you got to plug earphones in.
That's Ed's mantra.
My microphone is all the way up.
Yeah,
Sounds better now.
All right.
all right.
So the governor signed Executive Order 203, which is basically a mandate that every police department in the state of New York review, revise, modify their rules, regulations, department policies, and procedures. One of those from the hip moves, as far as I'm concerned. There's many, many departments in state of New York that has perfectly fine rules and regulations. There are some key points they want you to make sure that's in your rules and regulations. One of them is being chokeholds. Be honest with you, most of the state of New York hasn't used chokehold in 15, 20 years. It's not part of the rules and regulations. There are a few other things that they want put in there as well. The executive order is not crystal clear in how to go about doing everything, so I have been in contact with the county executive. They're not sure how they're going to do it either, whether it's going to be done at a county level or if it's going to be done by an individual municipality. It's kind of in the air yet. Right now, he's throwing it back to us on home rule, saying that we'll take care of our own departments, each town and its supervisor. The executive order requires a committee to be formed. What has to be on that committee is the members from the police department, inclusive of the chief of police, members of the community, with emphasis on areas of high call volume. Members from a non-for-profit organization, if they're interested. Same thing from a faith-based organization, if they're interested. The local public defender's office has to be involved, as well as a representative of the district attorney's office. And of course, the local elected officials. So basically, I thought what we would do is we would create a committee inclusive of our police liaison committee. Include some members of the public that were interested, faith-based, non-for-profits. Obviously, the union's going to need to be involved. Myself, and we'll review our department policies, procedures, and go through everything. We've already done this. Most of our rules and regulations and procedures are created from or taken from an accredited agency. So in the governor's executive order, he suggests that we use or that we strive to become an accredited agency. There's all kinds of rules and regulations, and there's quite the expense to become an accredited agency. So we won't be doing that. However, we will follow the rules to an accredited agency. And we already do, because our rules and regulations that have been developed back when Pfeiffer was here came from an accredited agency. That was back in 2010, 2011. Some minor modifications have been made to them since then to come up and bring them up to date with various law changes and things like that. So we'll do that. We'll appoint obviously the town board members will appoint people to the committee. I don't know how we go.
Jeff's the last name. He's on the Board of Assessors. He's a lawyer. He would like to be involved. Some of the, like the fair courts, you might want to get involved. We met a lot of people with the protest thing that might want to get involved.
Right.
And then you have your police, and you have the president there that could represent the union and the police. I guess it's something that we have to do. It might be a good thing, and just to get the committees recommended by you and the two liaisons for the next meeting or the next two meetings. There's no timer. It's not time sensitive right now. So in a couple of months, if you come up with a couple of names that you're comfortable with, that you think could add a lot of value to the whole discussion, and then the board will do a resolution and appoint those people, and we'll move forward from there.
Jerry, anytime you want to meet, I'm good. Just tell me when.
Yeah, then you could set up the time and meetings and stuff like that.
Yep.
But in the beginning, I would think that you wouldn't want the meetings to be public. You would just do it with the committee, and then we open up to a public at one time when you are in agreement about anything.
Right. So the process is going to be is the committee will review the 300 or 400 pages of rules and regulations, a protocol or plan or a list of modifications with guidance that says, any modification suggested by the public is automatically instilled. So, part of my problem I have with this whole thing is we are asking people who have no idea what it takes to do police work to dictate how I do police work. And I have a problem with that. And there's no guidance from the governor whatsoever. He signed this order and put it out there, has made it our responsibility, has tied it to funding. So if we don't get this done by April 1st, 2021, the town of Marlborough and all of its departments will not receive any federal, state, or county monies. So this has to be done.
Where do you submit it, Jerry? You submit it back to the state?
I have
Who approves it?
the director of budgets for New York State, and DCGS.
And
So-
they have to actually approve it?
Yeah, there's a process. So we do this committee thing, we make the changes, it has to go to a public vote. Then you need to accept it as either a local law or as resolution. And then all that paperwork that you accepted it and did its process gets filed with the Director of Budgets for New York State, all by April 1st. And it seems like we have a long time, but I'm
We don't.
talking over 300 pages of rules and regulations. And if this committee decides that, and I'll do something absurd, they want us to carry rubber gloves that shoot rubber guns that shoot marshmallows, obviously there's going to be argument and tumultuousness back and forth, and things aren't going to get resolved. Part of the issue I have is there's nothing that says I have to listen to anything anybody says.
So in the time frame before we while we're setting up the committee, maybe we'll get a little bit more direction from either the county exec or somebody that,
And that's what I'm hoping. Last week I had a meeting with the district attorney's office, who had no guidance with this whatsoever. And so it's all very new. So I think our first steps is we go ahead and create the committee. This way we know who's on it. Then I will need to get everybody either a printed version or a electronic version of the rules and regulations, because it's going to take these committee members time to digest these rules and regulations. I've been living for 22 years, so I know a lot of them by heart. There are many that I don't know, some obscure ones I'm sure, and it's a good thing that we're going to be going through this. But I expect it to be a lot of work for certain people because they've never experienced this whatsoever. Ed, Howard, I've never seen our rules and regulations.
I didn't. No, I have never seen them. But
I haven't either.
It's going to be a lot of work for you guys to digest and understand them and understand what they mean in terms of running the police department, as it will any other person that's going to be looking at them that's non-police department related, because this is new to them all, and that's all going to take time.
But we're up to it, Jerry. So we got to do
Yeah,
it.
we'll do it.
We're with you all the way. I don't think we're going to get marshmallows and whatever example you got, but we will get some feedback, and it's a very important thing to do, and it's a lot of work. It's probably the most significant thing we'll do in a long time. So,
Barry, the only thing I would suggest is like keep the committee to like a minimum. You don't want to get like 30 people on this committee. I mean, like 10 people, 12 people maybe, but the more you have, it's going to be harder to get all those people's ideas and
it seems like the commitment is a big commitment. So I don't think, during this time, I don't think you get a lot of people unless they really want to be on this committee and, definitely dedicate themselves to the committee. And different things that they're probably thinking about. Like Jeff is thinking about the color of the car already. So all these issues, I guess, will come to the surface, and then the committee will present it and with the chief to the town board and go through the process. But I agree with Howard. I think a lot of people respect our police officers, and I don't think it's going to be that. It's going to be a lot of work for Howard and Ed and the committee and you, Chief. But I think all in all, I believe like Howard's right. It's something that we have to do because it's an executive order, and we'll
Chief,
go through it just like everything else we go through. Right?
I mean,
we'll work together. We'll get it done.
Right, Jerry, you had a huge first step there when at the protest the other day. You did a fantastic job. From my perspective, I was there for some of it, not all of it. And I think you gained the respect of the protesters, and it was a very orderly process, and I think it was a good for the town, and you did a great job. So
I want to
set a great example right there. So
I want to concur with that because I was at the rally and then I did the walk with my daughters, but everything was I couldn't imagine anything. I mean, you guys made it safe. People that were drifting a little too far on 9W, police car officer said, please go to the shoulders. They went to the shoulders. Nobody was disrespectful to each other. They all wear masks. A couple of people going by didn't like the protest too much, but gave the finger and said the F word, but everybody was pretty cool about it, just did their job, and yeah, congratulations, Jerry. Just a great job. You and your officers, everything went as you thought it was gonna go. You know, they did their side and you did your side. So it was great. I appreciate it.
The organizers were very honorable. They were true to their word. They policed themselves. They did an excellent job. It was a good event all the way around. It went very well. And I don't really expect a lot of huge changes in our rules and regulations. I do expect some tweaks. I do expect to be some back and forth to require explanation as to why certain things are done a certain way. And it isn't a bad thing that this is happening. I really just think the broad stroke of the brush to make everybody do it is a little crazy, but it is what it is. We'll comply. We'll make every effort. We'll take advice from the county executive, and we'll work through it. I think if we can come up with a list of committee members for the next meeting, maybe we can establish that committee at the next meeting, and we can start moving forward, because April 1st, 2021 is going to come quicker than we know.
Yeah.
With a lot of work.
It usually does. It usually does. Time flies. So if it's all right with the board, I would like to leave it up to Howard, Ed, and the chief to sift through whoever's interested in being on this committee and present it to the board. You think 2 weeks is enough time, or you want the workshop meeting to present it, the last meeting of next month?
Well, I would vote for that, because I'm going to be out for a week. I'll be away for a week. So if we could, give us until the workshop meeting.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm for that.
Yeah.
I also, at the same token, even though me and Howard are on the committee, if any of the other council people have any ideas of people they think would be
absolutely
good for the committee, please let us know.
Sure. We'll email you. I'll email you Jeff's email. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Meanwhile, Chief, if you could scan that, so this way you could email it to Ed, and while Howard's on vacation, he'd probably love to read it.
Sure.
I do have it in a digital format. The unfortunate thing is, in the digital format, it's uneditable with a computer by you guys.
I think
we basically the paper one, you know.
But we can make notes and stuff from it. So I'll get you guys and everybody else on the committee a copy of it. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks,
Chief.
Jerry.
Alrighty.
So moving right along, item 7, any comments on the agenda? And being said, we'll move on to new business. And the new business on the transfer station, I think Howard had a request from Larry because July 4th falls on a Saturday. He'd like to have it on the Friday. Right? So Larry would like to have open it up a day before, because of the 4th, they'll be closed.
Unless you gotta get on.
So I don't think
I'm
anybody
okay
has
with
a
that.
problem with that.
I'm fine. Yeah, that
Everybody
works.
good?
I'm fine.
Okay. And so meanwhile, since Howard and Alan, the liaisons to the transfer station, do you think we should change or add another day besides just the Saturday? Or do you just keep it the way it is for now?
Yeah, how does the landfill employees feel about that? I mean, how do they feel? Is there a demand? Is there a need? Are they comfortable? I'm going to go with their.
I spoke to them Saturday. They seem to be comfortable with the way things are going now. I mean, their expectation is they'll go back
Yeah.
at some point in time, but I don't think they seem to be comfortable with it. They had other complaints, but
Are there
recommending
complaints from the
keep it?
public? I mean, have we heard any complaints from the public about
I
it?
haven't. Have you, Danielle or Colleen?
No complaints. Oh, am I on mute? Yeah, no, we've been good.
Okay.
So we'll just keep it the way it is, and then just look at it and see how we can move forward to being semi-normal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
there were a couple while we're on transfer station. I sent a note, an email, a couple other things to think about: the tires removal and the the chipping of the brush there. So we don't have to discuss it here. We can do it via email, but those are also budgetary things we'd have to consider.
Yeah, is the brush up there, is it the large stuff? Is there large stuff still, or people dropping off?
I think
Dropping off large trunks, like tree trunks, right?
yeah, big tree. I think that came from the trail making. I
Okay.
think they must have dumped some there, and there's a pretty big pile there.
Okay.
My desire would be to use that on the trails, but you know that there is a financial impact. Last year we kind of offset it. This year we do that, we wouldn't offset it. And then the tires, and I don't know. First of all, let me make sure that they're still accepting tires. Let me see if the Ulster County Sheriff's Office will be able to help us anytime soon. If we get those two things lined up, then we can decide whether we want to spend more money. I know money's going to be an issue, so
Yep.
let's make sure those two things are in line, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, my only concern, Howard, would be the financial side of it with the, you know, we're probably gonna be short in the budget this year a little on revenue side.
Yeah.
If we can put it off to next year, I mean, me more than anybody, I know like everybody here wants to get rid of those tires more than anything.
Right.
But if we can wait a little bit from a financial perspective, it might be a good idea. I'm not, you know, I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but
I understand.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I've been saying this right along about, you know, the revenue side of it. We just don't know what the sales tax. We know that talking to Steve Noble up in Kingston, they're going to be 50% down. Basically, they're going to be in trouble. I think Tom could verify that. They depend on the sales tax quite a bit. With ours, Scott, when we did our budget, we were very conservative on the sales tax and also on the mortgage. And we don't know about the AIM, the $35,000. We're told it.
Yep.
Probably get it, but we really don't know.
Mhm.
And then there's another thing that plays into this every year is the insurance. So the supervisors last had a meeting, and they were told, and they gave us a rough estimate of MVP's increase in the insurance. So it's about what we always do. You know, they say 7, 8, but it always turns out to be 11, 12%, which is always a big knot for the taxpayers. But that being said, yeah, I think we got to watch our nickels and dimes a little bit till we find out a lot of the other stuff that's coming from the county. And
I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're gonna have to get a little conservative as we, you know, end out this year. So it's all this little stuff is gonna add up.
Right. The brush could sit there for a long time, so.
It can rot away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you look at the revenue side just alone with the town, the pavilion, we're not getting rentals on that, the train station, all that stuff is, you know, it's zilch. So we make some of it up because of our efforts to, you know, to be conservative, you know, with the not having a camp and not having the 4 different concerts and stuff like that. We save some money, so we move forward. We'll see what it happens, but it's a wait and see type of thing, you know. And you know, I'm on the supervisors meetings, and there's, you know, like I say all the time, I feel comfortable. I sleep at night well because I think we've done a great job as far as our budget and the way we budget every year. We're right almost close to the bone, right, Scott?
Yeah.
And everybody else. So
yeah,
we're in a lot better shape than a lot of people. They deferred people. They took advantage of the $600 per week, and now it's hard to get people back. So we're not going through all that. We kept all our people working. We paid them, and so now we're moving forward.
I think we're in good shape, but this will be our first true test this year.
It's a good
See how we
test.
end up at the end.
Yeah, well, I've been shouting from the rooftops right from the beginning. I was a little, you know, the revenue side and talking to Chris, so I'm watching it very carefully. That being said,
before we leave now, just a reminder. So Danielle, could we put a note out on the web saying July 3rd for the transfer station instead of July 4th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So you're going to tell people that, I assume, this weekend, start telling people as they come up?
Yeah, I'm texting Larry right now. I'm telling him to go.
Yeah, Larry could probably put up a couple signs too. You know what I mean? Just some like
Yep.
to paper, just put it on the window.
Yep.
We could put one up too at our window.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
could tell
exactly.
people when they come in.
Thank you.
So, that being said, that's new business. So workshop topic, of course, is COVID-19, Tom. Tomorrow we open phase 3. It's a step forward, and it's 50%, I guess, of the restaurants are allowed to open.
Correct. 6 feet apart on the tables. Servers wearing masks. Wear a mask as you enter. Once you sit down, you can take your mask off to eat with the servers, and everybody else will be wearing masks.
Who's supposed to police that, Tom? You?
No.
How do we know that that's actually happening? You know what I mean?
Well, I think
People themselves.
People self-policing?
it's been a
Basically.
little rough. Some people are adhering to all the rules, some people are not. So
Right.
it's pretty hard to police that, and I'm not going to put that on our chief anyhow. And the chief does a great job, because when he sees people, he just gives them a warning and tells them, you should be wearing a face mask, you should be doing the social distancing. That whole getting up. So if you walk down Marlborough on a good day, you might see people wearing masks. Some days they don't. So you don't know what's going to happen. But so far, like Tom says, we're doing very good with the COVID-19, especially in our community. So it's a good thing. If the numbers were going up, and I think then we would have some. If we had any hot spots that put up a flag, I think then we would really be concerned, and then probably would have to look and see where those hot spots are. But other than that, I think we're doing well. We opened at the town hall. We start 9 to 2. I think that's working great. Everybody is very considerate to the other person. They wear their mask. We have the sign-in sheet that's working well, right, Danielle and Colleen? And
Yes.
we have people signing in legibly. They print their name, and so everything I think is working well. How about in your department, Tom? Everything is working well.
No problem. We didn't skip a beat. Everything's fine. We're still issuing permits. A lot of new houses coming in, so it's going to get busy.
Yep. So that's good. That's all those people you're talking about coming from the city, buying houses and jacking the price up.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, we know that. Then everything will be calm, and 2-3 years they'll sell the house to go back to the city. Whatever. So we'll deal with it.
Or are we like when I had sent out the note about opening like Tomback or the train station? Are we obviously we're waiting to phase 4?
Yeah.
So after July 15th, are
7th.
July 7th?
As of now.
7th, if everything stays well, are we looking to start the process of opening and having Charlie get the bathrooms going, or how do we want to plan this?
I'll tell you, I had Charlie open the 2 bathrooms above by the playground, because we're going to start that construction this week. So we need water for the concrete and stuff like that. So that's just for the people that are going to volunteer to put the all-inclusive playground up. So hopefully that'll go well. And then I think if we're all in agreement, we could gradually open up the pavilion. But I don't know who's really going to be interested in coming with a mass gathering.
Yeah, not to interrupt you, Al. What is the cost first? What do you think we'll recoup if we were to open mid-July, the pavilion? Like, what would be the usage? What is it? Is it worth it?
I don't know if that data probably Colleen and Danielle have it at the.
July and August are usually busy, right? So
Well, July, we really didn't have many people booked because of the COVID. So June was really the amount of people that I had to call when we had to cancel and we determined, we were going to close. We didn't have really anybody in July yet or August because, it was farther out. So I could always, call those people. When I called them to cancel, I had told them that if we do open back up, then I will let them know. And give them a call and see if they wanted to change that to when we do open. So
So that leads to a great question. Thank you, Carmen, Alan. I mean, what's the board's feeling? I mean, do we just, what if Plan A for the seniors, they'll have to have the bathrooms.
Yeah.
Is that something that we want to consider opening in late July after the seniors or August? Or do we?
I mean, I think if we open up for the seniors, we're kind of open, right? I mean,
Yeah.
August, that's in August though, he's thinking about.
No, I
So-
know, but I mean, if we say by July 15th,
August 13th.
well, if we give him the go-ahead, yeah, we're good to go. We would be
Well,
opening sometime in July, right?
When we
My
open
question-
it- Go ahead, Tom.
My question, I was just saying, my question is, is there much of a hard cost to open up when we're collecting 300 to 500 a pop per day?
Well, it's not 5, it's usually 3 because it's.
No,
Well, I mean,
not
it's three-
really. No, I understand where Alan's coming from. He's saying, is it really, I don't think it's just the monetary value, but is it worth just opening up for those 3 months?
Like, are the people going to come? That was pretty much my question. I know, like Charlie, it's pretty much we can absorb the cost, but is it going to be used? That was what I'm bringing up.
Yeah, so we
Well,
could
when I-
try it. We could try it.
I mean, if it doesn't get used, it doesn't get used, right? If it does,
Right.
it does.
Well, the
think
people
we
would
oughta
have
try
the option to decide on their own if they want to come. I know Sonotech was extremely interested, and they were in August, I believe, is when their.
I
party
think
was.
some other things is, I got questions too, as far as people were just looking for outside venues, even just for meetings. Because they can't have meetings inside, so they wanted to use the pavilion for meetings and things like that. And then it's a daily rate, just like we have in our schedule, but it's things like that too. It's not just like the weekend party or something like that, so.
I think we ought to try it. And what about the playground? Can we not open the playground now? I thought.
Not right now because the playground's
It's
not
all
yet.
taken apart.
What about
Well,
the
I know it's taken
basketball court?
apart,
That was my question. The basketball court, can we
Yeah, the
open back?
basketball
There's
court.
2 basketball nets that were put down. And I
Right.
saw a young man playing basketball, just shooting himself. So
Can't we open that up now? I mean, I thought.
Tomorrow you go to 25. So you could go to 25 tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, the parks are open. They kind of, you could have had it open the whole time, but police in 10 would have been, a little tough.
Yeah.
But tomorrow we go to 25. So 25 is.
What about, I've been getting calls from people from Bocce League.
but that's a different story. I don't know how you handle that because you got people touching things and stuff like
If
that.
they're playing basketball, I mean, they're touching the same basketball.
There's one guy touching the basketball that I saw.
How are you going to keep that, though? How, when you open up all the courts, how are you going to do that?
No, the courts are already open.
Right, but I'm saying, how are you going to? It's 10 people go in there. They're going to be playing.
I mean,
We don't tell
Yeah,
them
but
what-
now the rules are up to 25. So, I mean,
Right,
once
you
we
go
go
to-
into that second phase.
Right, so they're going to be playing basketball.
I mean,
Well,
look,
if you're up to 25, if you're up to
we have
25,
to-
there's no reason why you can't do bocce because there's not
yeah, I mean,
25 at a time.
you really can't tell Bocce not that they can't play. We're coming out of a phase. We're going into a new phase. If we get into a hot spot, then we'd have to shut it down again if the governor says so.
I
So
would-
we have
I
to
would
play it that way.
I would hear like a proposal for how you open it up. I mean, I think we ought to try it.
Bocce would be somewhat simple, right? I mean, here's the simplicity of it. You go to 25 tomorrow, right? So that means the accumulation of 2 courts, you won't exceed the 25.
Yeah.
And if you make everybody wear gloves, then nobody's touching the ball. You wear the plastic glove.
Right,
That's the end of it.
At the end of the day, you throw the gloves out and you're done.
That's
Or
it.
Even better, you throw, then you use hand sanitizer. That takes.
Well,
you don't
just-
have to wear gloves.
But you just use the glove. I mean, if you just use that rubber glove, it's probably simpler than to throw the ball every time and do a hand sanitizer.
True.
If they want bocce back that bad, and listen, I'll be honest. I'd be okay to play, but put a pair of gloves on, rubber gloves, and at the end of the night, you throw them in the garbage can. That's it. Nobody's touching the ball.
They got to wear the masks too, Tommy, because measure all that kind of stuff. You're going to get pretty close.
That's fine.
They got
So
to
that-
self-police.
Yeah,
That's all.
so-
Self-police.
So if you bring that in, Ed, as the head of the bocce league, and the rules and regulations are, if you want to play, you will wear masks and you will wear the gloves, the rubber gloves. And at the end of the night, as long as they're thrown in the garbage and we don't have a mess down there and everybody's following the rules and it's being policed by ourselves, then why not, right? I mean, why not?
Got to give it a
I don't
try.
have a problem with that. The thing is that they have to wear a mask, right? Because you won't be able to do the social distancing. So they have to wear a mask there because.
And I'll tell you, I would police that myself. I would stop down there every night to make somebody wear a mask.
So let's plan on the beginning of August that we open up the pavilion and we open up the train station. And this way, if people want the month of August to rent either one, we'll work on this month. Or do you want to open up in July?
I would say after phase 4 opens, I would go right after.
I would follow the phase.
4. July 7th, the next day, you could start, have Charlie get it set up for that week, the next week.
I mean, to be honest with you, I would think that
on
they're going to play bocce down there. They're going to have the bathrooms. You're there for 2 hours.
And then we'll have to have
So why don't we say July?
More often than we.
How long does it take Charlie to open it up? A day or two, you think?
Yeah, he's actually gonna do it for me Wednesday or Thursday. So this way.
So we could, in theory, we can advertise that the pavilion opens up on the 11th. That's the following Saturday. Right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I'm for that. Let's see what happens. If it gets out of hand, we'll shut it down. But
What I'm gonna do.
Because what's going to happen is obviously we offer, but then who comes, and who doesn't, right? The public themselves will dictate whether we're busy, we're not busy, we're open, we're not open. Just like the restaurants come tomorrow. They're going to open tomorrow at 50%, but the public's going to ultimately decide whether it's open or not. I mean, if 2 people show up, 2 people show up. If they get packed, they get packed. So, yeah, what you're doing is the right thing. You're offering it. And if they don't come, they don't come. And that's fine. If bocce goes from 18 teams to 9 teams, then it goes to 9 teams. It's just, you're offering and you're staying within the realm of the phases.
Right.
I just want to run it by the board for a minute, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm not going to do anything until I'm going to have a meeting down at the pavilion, no bathrooms. We'll be, there's only going to be 18, 19 captains, whatever's there. And I'll give them all the rules and regulations. I'll hand out to them. And whoever decides they want to put their team in, can put their team in. But I won't start till the week after July 7th. So it'll be the Monday after that was when I would start the league, if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah.
We're open. We're open. Yeah, if the state's open.
But,
open.
those people that rent a pavilion, if I'm correct, regardless if it's 25 or whatever, they have to do the social distancing and the mask, right?
Yep.
Does the pavilion have a capacity?
Just like down at the Milton Landing, we have a sign. I mean, we have to have a sign up at the pavilion.
Same sign.
Exterior, to your question, Howard, exterior facilities really don't have a maximum capacity because it's not foreclosed walls where you have seating. I mean, what you could do is dictate that theoretically yourself, if you want to say there's X amount of picnic tables and we want X amount of people underneath it.
Yeah.
But by state law or fire law, there's no dictation on occupancy on an outdoor facility because, again, of the open walls.
Right.
But I mean, we could call that fixed seating because we have the benches on there, count the seating and put an occupancy based on fixed seating. Sure, we could do that.
I think we ought to do that. Something like
I
that.
think we should do that. I think we should do that
per
too.
table.
Like they're doing for the Lions Club, 6 people per table. Like
6 per table times the table. I go down there, put an occupancy sign. I'll get one made up tomorrow. I'll laminate it, and we'll put it down there saying maximum occupancy is X, and that's it.
Yeah. Tom, you'll have to do that so we could tell Danielle and Colleen exactly what we're doing that when we open up. This is what you have to do, 6 per table, like Scott was saying, and you have to do the social distancing and the mask. And so this way they could, when they put it on our website and Tina puts on the Facebook, that everybody knows what they're doing, right?
Right, but that will be understand. That would be your rule with the mask because social distancing outside doesn't require a mask in New York State law. And under phase 4, we still don't even know, the occupancy could explode. But because again, it goes to basically back to normal. So again, if you guys create the mask rule, that's your rule. Understand, that's not New York State's rule. You're outside, and if you social distance 6 feet apart, the mask is not necessary under New York State rule. You're going into a business, you're coming into our facility, that's your rule. So if that's what you want, that's fine, but just understand that.
Yeah, but to Eddie's point, those guys get pretty close.
I'm not talking about bocce. Bocce, no
Bocce,
problem.
that's got to happen.
That's good. I'm saying underneath the pavilion when you have a party.
Got you.
If there, let's say the occupancy comes 100. And again, this is your call because again, what New York State is saying, these are the rules or these are the guidelines. Each municipality, each business, all could set their own different rules. So under the guideline, 6 feet apart outside doesn't necessarily require that mask.
But you're
So
not
if
gonna be able
tell-
to eat or drink with a mask on underneath the pavilion. I mean,
Well,
it's gonna-
restaurants, like you go in and you take your mask off once you're
as
in.
soon as you come in, you take your mask off now, right?
Right, so that's,
I guarantee
That would be
you,
a reasonable.
they're not gonna be 6 feet apart.
No.
well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Again, you got to decide. I mean, if the town board, and this was I'm getting from you, Al, you were just saying that they have to tell them they have to wear a mask under the pavilion after phase 4. That's in theory your rule. I mean, it's not the rule of law.
They don't have to
Tommy, I
wear a
gotta-
mask,
I
but
gotta-
I'm just saying, we've been so diligent up to now, now I hate to see anything happen in the town of Marlborough because now we're relaxing so much that, I understand the desire to go out, but, the whole thing is, that what's gonna happen, people are gonna get close, they're not gonna wear the mask.
But that's July 8th anyway. July 8th
But
is
you're in
phase
phase
4.
4, you're in phase 4.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. I mean,
think-
at one point in time, you have to finally say, we're in phase 4 and we have to move forward. I mean, you gotta.
Well,
Then-
The only
then
thing
it-
I don't understand is 6 people at a table. I don't see how they're 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
They're not.
They're not gonna
They're
be.
not.
We're not gonna
So
be.
why put a restriction of 6 people? Just put the restriction of what the capacity is that we
Right,
feel
right.
comfortable with.
Right, that's a better idea, Al. Just have,
Put 100 people there, you could put 100 people, you could spit on each other, whatever.
Yeah, Tommy, it goes by square footage, right?
On an interior. Because if people stay, you can't, if you tell somebody, all right, your party is limited to 100 under the pavilion, I guess we could dictate that. But you can't have another 30, 40 people standing outside, walking around under the bocce court, playing softball on the field. Do you limit the party size to 100? Because if we're limiting the occupancy under the pavilion, which again, we could do that under fixed seating, I could do that. But that, again, your call. I mean,
So Tom,
can you?
what I would suggest, you go down there tomorrow, you scope it out, send an email to the supervisor and the board saying, I recommend that the occupancy be 100. Then when Colleen and Danielle advertise it, we could say we recommend social distancing and masks at your, whatever.
Or your
you feel
discretion.
comfortable, at your discretion. And then, leave it at that.
Well, just know, I mean, top of my head, if there's, what I don't know, Steve might have said it, was there 30 tables there?
25.
All right, so
25.
25 times
150.
6. It's still 150 people.
Yeah, it's 150.
That's but they're not 6 feet apart.
Well,
And I think after this next phase or the last phase, it's going to go back to the people who are wearing masks now are probably still going to wear them and still be concerned about it. And the people who aren't because they didn't do it anyway.
So
So-
let's figure on this. So we'll start, Danielle and Colleen, once we find out from Tom, the occupancy of the pavilion. And I am assuming that'll be the same thing. I think we already know what the occupancy for the train station is.
Yes.
So we'll open them up for anybody who wants to rent.
And we're going with what date now? July what?
It'll be-
15th or 7th?
11th, he
It's
said?
the 11th.
It's a
The
Friday
11th.
weekend.
All right, so July 11th is when we could start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we gonna limit this just to Marlborough residents, or can we do that, or can we?
I don't
not
think we
do that?
can,
No,
right?
you can't.
State park.
You can't do that. It's a state park. Hula Chance Memorial Park. It's a state park, and you could do that with the train station because the town board and the public own the train station. There's no regulations under that. But the landing and Starport, that's a park also. So we have control over that, but that's the only thing we have.
And what about, Zumba, boot camp, all that stuff up there?
That's indoors.
Well, so is the train station.
She can go outdoors though. She's outdoors now.
We've been doing outdoors right now, but I'm saying, do we want to have the indoors
it's-
start and rent start paying again? Because right now they're not paying any rent, they being outside, but I don't know.
If we're in the phases and she's within compliance to the phase, I mean,
Yeah. Can't deny it.
we can't tell her no if the state's open. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's my point. So,
So right now, with phase
Three.
four,
Three coming
that's
up.
allowable, right? Up to 20, whatever, 25 people?
No, that's phase three.
three.
Tomorrow's
Phase
25.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow she could have 25 people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say they would have to open. They would
Yeah,
open.
if they
it.
want to go up and huff and puff, you know what I mean, and breathe heavy. it's up to
Well, I
them.
mean, what
It's
you
up to
want
them.
to tell her, like, after 4th of July, that the Tomback, I mean, she could start going in after 4th, we could just set a date, and then,
Yep.
so the rent starts on that month, you know what I mean?
Let's do the July.
I'd say after July 7th, phase 4.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, put on phase 4 and just be done with it.
Where did we come down on the basketball court? I know that the playground's not really ready yet, but
It's open, so we
it's
discussed
open.
that.
It's full.
You know, 2 nets have been down for a while now. The one to the east and the west, those 2 nets have been down. Somebody took them down. The rest are still up, but
The net or the hoops?
the nets, the hoops have always been up there. We just we roped
It
the
took all the
nets.
tape off on the
Yeah.
zip
Okay,
ties.
so they're open. They're basically
Yeah. Yeah. So
putting
the
that-
only thing that we really have to, that we're responsible, is open up the bathrooms. And I'll talk to Charlie and tell him what our discussion was today.
Okay,
So
and
we
then,
can start working.
I'm
on
not
it.
going to start bocce till phase 4. So, I mean, you're fine.
Yeah.
And then phase 4 is July.
7th. So
Seventh.
I'm not going
Not
to
that
do it
far
till the
away.
following Monday. That's a Tuesday.
As of today, it's
Yeah.
July 7th.
Everything could change.
Yeah, we don't know where it's going to go.
Right.
Right.
Everything could change.
As of today. Okay. We all good on this?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
good.
tough.
Okay. Okay.
Hard to
So,
get.
is it called still Christian Road Trail, Howard, or we're changing that?
We're probably changing it, but for now, let's call it Christian Hill. We haven't really settled on it. It's more Marlborough Hamlet Trail or something like that. I don't know, but we haven't settled on it yet. But
And just a reminder, at Wednesday at 11 o'clock, we're having the groundbreaking down at the landing.
yeah,
We already saw the barges there and stuff like that. It's very exciting. So,
so I
town
haven't.
board and everybody's invited.
We haven't really opened it up to the public because, again, I don't think we want more than 25 people there. But
Right.
but all the board, everybody on this call is obviously invited in the town board. And
I'll be there, Al, for your speech alone.
That's good. Thank you very much, Ed. You're going to be there about 2 minutes.
yes, it'll be everything will be brief. I painted the shovels today this afternoon.
Or did you?
Yeah.
Do you need more hard hats?
Are they chrome
I have hard
dipped?
hats.
What's
Yeah,
chrome
yeah,
dipped?
some hard hats, bring them.
All right, we'll deal with hard hats from cleaning 9W corridor.
Alan, you're on the agenda. You're going to say a few words, right?
Am I?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I'll say something.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Gail can't make it, but
Yeah, so far work seems I'll be okay with that. So I don't have anything scheduled.
Sounds great.
How long you think? Like an hour the most?
the ceremony, if it takes more than
Yeah.
20 minutes, so half an hour, something like that.
Okay, good.
It's just for a photo shoot mainly, but don't be keep your speech brief. You're very good.
It'll be real brief.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe you should come for Alan's head, Ed.
What
Alan's
time is it on Wednesday? 11?
Yeah.
It's Wednesday at 11 o'clock.
This Wednesday?
Wednesday the 24th. Yeah.
24th.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gonna be able to make it, Scott?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. Yep, I'll be there.
Good.
Tommy, you'll be
Back
there,
day
right?
off that day.
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right.
Sounds great. It's very exciting. Okay.
We invited Andrew. I don't think he's coming though.
Andy, anyhow, the water tank on Western Avenue, we had a little dialogue. We had sent some emails from Dennis Larios. His suggestion was to decommission it. Don't spend the money, the $150,000, better spent on the sewer plant. Alan had some great questions. I sent them, Dennis answered most of our questions, I think all of our questions. I was very satisfied with that. I don't know, what's the board, what's your feeling? Just let it go right now? Just decommission it, just drain it, or I don't want to spend $150,000 if it's not necessarily, according to Dennis, it's not. So
I think I think at some point, the Board of Health is going to come in and say, if you don't paint it, you have to decommission it, right or wrong. That was, a lot of my questions were like, what is their input? Because there's laws that we have to follow to be a municipal water system. I believe they look at the rust and they make the recommendation. And at some point, they're going to say, hey, that tank's got to go. Or either you have to paint it or it's got to go.
But is it
So-
$150,000 to decommission it?
I didn't get that indication from Dennis that the Board of Health would crack down on the town of Marlborough because it wasn't painted. It hasn't been painted like in the last 15 years.
Yeah, but
that's brought up the conversation. They look in disarray, and maybe we should do something about it. And then
yeah, I'm not a superintendent of water, but I believe that's how it works. I wouldn't vote now to decommission it until we're told to decommission it. If the board chooses not to paint it, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like the idea of us getting rid of a water tank. I know Dennis he answered my questions and I did appreciate it, but I don't like being left without a backup source. If there's a break, I know he said town of Newburgh has that, but where's the break? Where's the break that stopped the water the water line? You know what I mean?
think his recommendation, and we haven't used that water tank in such a long time since we've been on.
I haven't used a seatbelt since I was 16, but I still have one. You know what I mean?
Use it?
I've never used it yet, knock on wood. No.
Al, do we know how much it would cost to decommission, basically tear it down?
I don't. I could ask all those questions.
If we can get an idea, right? Because letting stuff sit there and molder and rot or rust or whatever is not a good idea either. So, in my opinion,
well, it's been there and it's been doing what exactly you'd say. It's been sitting there molding and rotting.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's still holding water, so it's still doing it. It's effectively doing its job. I know we don't use it, but what's that?
It's still holding the 475,000 or whatever it's holding.
Yeah, that is actually acting as a backup in case we need it in certain areas. So
could we even open up the spigot on it? Do we even know that, or do we test it once?
The valves work. I'm sure Charlie exercises the valves on it, and he has to move the water in and out to keep it fresh too. So
I think the way the whole thing started, right, is because if we were going to paint it and do all the necessary maintenance to it, I had to do it RFP, so that's why I got Dennis involved. And then Dennis's note to the board and myself, I forwarded on saying, I don't think you should spend the money on that. So
I agree with that.
Let me ask Dennis how we I think he even said how to decommission it in one of his emails, but let me ask him about the Board of Health and stuff like that. If we so desire, we just talked about money, and basically when we talked to Chris Wilco and Scott and myself, how could we get this $150,000 to paint it and restore it? It was that we would have to jack up the last water bill by $3 and something cents to come up with the $150,000. So if it's recommended that we really don't need to do that, I would go along with not doing anything this year on that water tank because of the statements we previously talking about the budget and stuff.
I mean, I would definitely say we should hold off and revisit it again. But I agree with Alan too that we definitely do have to look at it and figure out what we've got to do. Because if we decommission that, are we obligated to have to put another tank up at that point?
Well,
No,
I'm just going to quote.
No.
Hold on. I'm going to quote Dennis. Dennis said, yes, you should have reserve capacity, but that tank does not provide effective reserve. It only provided meaningful reserve when the town was on a well supply and reservoir supply, and when your district was confined to the Marlborough hamlet. Eventually, you will need a new tank, and a few sites have been identified.
Yeah,
so we still do need a reserve.
We do need a reserve, but if we take it down, are we required to put the reserve in?
No. So the whole thing we had Mazer, I think maybe Tom, you remember that, look at because of, where's Natalie, that Ridge Road, the water pressure there was very bad.
Yeah.
We've been to Newburgh, it's increased. I would say I haven't heard any complaints. I think it's not as bad as it used to be. I think that's what Dennis was referring to, because we were looking for a water tank on the Clark's property years ago. And so that turned into a whole new story. I don't want to go into that. Maybe Ed remembers that. But I think that's where he's referring to. Where we had the low pressure, that's where we should put a tank to to increase the pressure at those points. And that was Ridge Road. I remember the water pressure being different. But then since the Mazer study and Dennis refers to it, the pressure is increased. So because of being on the Newburgh system. So let me just follow through with Dennis and ask him all these pertinent questions that the board has and talk about decommission. And I agree with Scott. We could start the dialogue. We could talk about it, and probably won't do anything this year. We'll probably do something next year, if at all.
Kick the can down the road.
Pretty much.
Literally kicking it down the road.
Kick it down the road. I don't have any correspondence. The only correspondence I have was from Jeff Magliano, I think.
Magliano.
Yeah, about being on the police commission. And then I'll pass that on to the chief and the liaisons. Anybody have any public comment that's on the Zoom?
Just the bocce people, that's all.
Here we go.
James?
This is your supervisor. On the website, under community alert, you have information concerning the cell nodes on Route 9W, which have been active for a very long time. And I was wondering if maybe you could take that down and dedicate that space to encouraging people to provide the Census Bureau with their data, because we're still less than 60% of the people providing that information.
I think we've
That's
been doing
one
that,
way.
right, Daniel? Haven't we?
I put it out originally when you had asked me the first time, and then I sent another alert, I'm going to say about a month ago. So there is information on there. I believe it's in the news. Yes, it is. And there's a link to go right to their website directly, the United States Census, and also how to respond to your census.
So maybe we could just do a little splash about the census to make sure that.
There's the flyer is right on there as well under
Okay.
Newsflash. So
Okay.
it's
James,
covered
anything else?
pretty well. I do
wanna
have a quick
say-
question about the transfer station. So the hours for Friday, are we doing Friday hours, which are normally 8 to 11:30, or Saturday hours 8 to 3? Did Larry
Saturday
mention what he'd
hours.
like to?
We're making Saturday a Friday.
Yeah, I would make it
Okay.
8 to 3.
8 to 3. Oh,
Yep.
shoot. Thank you.
And Danielle, while we're on the website, thank you, Danielle, for making the changes to the website that the Meet Me in Marlborough folks asked. I think they're very happy.
Sure. Did you saw it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It works?
Look,
They're
Yep.
pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
James, go ahead.
I'd like to give my support for more solar in the community. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, James. Appreciate it. I have no resolutions.
Allen
So
time.
13 is a critical
Allen
vote.
time.
It's always fun to have some laughter in this one. So
Yeah.
I know Alan's been calling me up, and he has something really drastic to say. Item 13, Alan, you could have the floor now.
If I have the floor right now, I'd just like to bring up, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Is that good?
I'll second that.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for your input. Appreciate it.
All right. Good night, all.
Guys.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Good night.
Bye.
Thanks, Howard.
Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.